Summer has been over for a while now, and things are getting back to normal. Or are they? Normal looks a little bit different for our family these days, so I thought I'd take the opportunity of doing a kitchen restock to catch you up with what's been going on and the changes that have been happening over the past few weeks. But before I get into all of that, I need to let you know what I'm doing here. So I'm starting by making some yogurt, and I need to scald this milk before I can make the yogurt. It's fresh milk from the farm. It's not raw milk, but I think that I do need to scald it anyway because I know that this is very, very fresh milk, and I'm a little bit concerned that the yogurt won't take if I don't scald it first. So that's what I'm doing now. And then I'm going to get some freshly milled flour going so that I can make some bread. Now, the recipe that I'm using for this bread is my freshly milled flour artisan loaf, which is going to be going live on the blog very shortly. So keep your eye out for that. Now, I do talk about my blog from time to time, but I realise that I don't often tell you where you can find it. It's called candleinthekitchen.com, and on there you can get lots of different allergy-friendly meal ideas, loads of sourdough, plenty of recipes that are kind on your budget. Anything that you see me make here, that's the kind of thing that you'll find over on the blog. So go and have a look, and when you're over there you can also sign up for my newsletter, and that way you will be sure to never miss a new recipe. Right now I'm rinsing some lentils so that I can get them cooked up in my Dutch oven. When we were away on holiday, we actually went on a 3-day walk with a donkey, which was loads of fun. The kids loved it. It was tiring, but it was beautiful, and it was just so much fun to spend time together in nature. One of the hostels that we stayed in made us a lentil salad for lunch the next day, and we absolutely loved it. So I thought that I'd give it a go and make it from home. Now, I think that the fresh air might have altered the taste of the lentil salad, because the one that I made was nowhere near as nice as the one that we had on holiday, but it was still good and it was still very nutritious. So I shall probably be making it again. Now, after that super fun family holiday, a really big change happened in our family. Our eldest daughter moved away to a different country. She's now living in Holland and studying there. I miss her so much, but I know that she's having a wonderful time doing what she loves and making loads of new friends, so I'm really happy for her. But it does make a big change for us. I have to remember I'm only cooking for 5 people and not 6 people. The first few evenings, it was very strange to see her place at the table empty. And it's just one of those bittersweet things where I'm really happy for her, but also really missing her. And I just can't believe how quickly this has come around. It only seems like yesterday that it was her first day of school, and now she's flown the nest. But that's what having children is about. It's bringing them up to be adults, to be able to live the life that they're intended for, to be happy, to be productive. And I'm really proud of my daughter. You just saw me mixing together the ingredients for the bread. Now, I always like to mix the ingredients together and then leave it for 30 minutes. So I mix it very gently until the flour is just about absorbed. I don't want to knead it at all at this point because I want the bran to soak and soften so that it doesn't cut the gluten strands. I'm also cooling down the milk for the yogurt so that I can add the yogurt starter, and I'm making a brine for some fermented vegetables that I'm going to be making later. The other big piece of news that we have is that we have been able to reintroduce some different foods for our boys that have food allergies. And this is really exciting for us. Every time we have tried to introduce gluten or dairy to either of them, they've both started losing weight and becoming pretty ill. So this time we've done the GAPS diet more or less, not very strictly, but we did it for several months and we really saw a difference. And now we've been able to reintroduce gluten with freshly milled flour. They don't have any plain flour or processed flour, just freshly milled flour. And we've also been able to reintroduce butter, which makes baking a whole lot easier. They love having butter on their bread in the morning. That's just their favourite thing now, and it makes me so happy to see them enjoying that. And while we're on holiday in my parents-in-law's, they have some really delicious cheese over there. And the boys asked if they could try a little bit. And I was considering giving them some kind of dairy to see how they dealt with it. So I decided that they could give it a go. And they've been having a piece or two pieces of cheese every day now for several weeks with no side effects. So we are so happy for them. They are really excited to be able to eat cheese. And we are just really happy that they're starting to be able to eat a bit more like the rest of the family. They're putting on weight. They haven't had any sniffling noses or anything like that. They've had no digestive issues. So I'm just really happy that reintroducing these foods has worked this time. Now, I'm always a little bit unsure because in the past we've thought everything is fine, and then a few months down the line we go and see the doctor and the doctor realizes they've put no weight on or they've lost weight. So I'm still a little bit reserved. I'm hopeful but reserved. And my plan for today, doing this kitchen restock, is to make a whole load of fermented foods so that we can carry on feeding the good gut bacteria, which I am sure is what has made the difference. So my plan is every meal they will have some kind of stock, like they did with the GAPS diet, and some kind of fermented food. So for now, it's just going to be fermented vegetables, but I'm hoping that they will be able to eat a little bit of yogurt every day too. I'm going to start them really small with just a teaspoon of yogurt in the morning and increase it as time goes on and see how that goes. My hope is that if I carry on encouraging that good gut bacteria, that they will be able to carry on eating gluten and dairy, and that I'll be able to introduce potatoes soon too, so that their diet will be completely varied. We'll be able to all eat the same thing, and maybe occasionally they'll be able to eat something that I haven't made, like at a restaurant or something like that. That would be amazing. Now I'm adding the yogurt starter to the milk that I've scalded. I'm going to mix it in really well, and then I'm going to leave it to ferment for 15 hours, or I don't know if it was actually 15 hours this day, maybe it was more like 12, but as long as I can and up to 15 hours. That way I know there's lots of amazing good bacteria in there, which is going to be really good for us. I always make sure I take the seal off the Instant Pot because it has a very strong smell to it since I've been making stock and meat in there, and it makes the yogurt taste of meat when I leave it on, so I always make sure to take it off, and that way I get a good flavoured yogurt. I usually only make sauerkraut when I'm doing fermented vegetables. But I found these beetroots, radishes and carrots at our local organic shop, and they looked so amazing. I thought I'd give it a try and ferment them instead. So I've made the brine, you saw me do that earlier, and now I'm chopping up the vegetables into bite-sized chunks, and I'm going to pour the brine over them. Now the only problem with doing beetroot and other vegetables is that the beetroot makes everything go red. So next time I think I will probably make these vegetables separately. Now, from the research that I did on the internet, this kind of vegetables needed a 2% brine. So I did that with 10 grams of salt to 500 milliliters of water, and it did turn out really well. We've eaten them since and they taste really good. Now, as you can see, I'm having a bit of trouble getting these lids on the jars. So if you have any recommendations for plastic lids that go on these kind of mason jars, would you leave me a comment below? I'm really struggling with these lids. I just got them off Amazon and they don't work very well with my jars. And I do prefer to use plastic lids when I'm fermenting because I find that the metal ones tend to go rusty. So if you've got any recommendations of plastic lids you love, let me know in the comments. Now back to making the sauerkraut. I sliced this cabbage really thinly and I put 1 tablespoon of salt per head of cabbage into this big bowl, and then I massaged it for about 5 minutes. Then I left it to one side while I was getting on and doing other things, and I'm coming back to it now. I'm giving it another massage, trying to get as much of the juices out as I possibly can, and then I'm going to be putting it into these mason jars and pressing it down as hard as I can. I'm using a rolling pin to get even more pressure in there. I'm trying to pack it in as tight as I can, and then I will pour the extra juices over the top and fold up a cabbage leaf to keep all of the cabbage under the liquid, and then I'll leave it to ferment for about a week. Now back to doing some stretch and folds on this bread, and you can really see how the dough is changing, and you'll be able to see that even more later on in the video. You can see the dough becoming more and more elastic as the day goes on, and this dough turned out really well. It was such a good loaf of bread. Now the other fermented food, or I should say drink, that we really enjoy is water kefir. Now I think that I make this slightly differently to other people on the internet, and it might be the French way of doing it. I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comments if you've seen it made this way before or not. I have a 1.5 litre container, and I'm going to add 5 tablespoons of cane sugar, 5 tablespoons of kefir grains, 5 slices of lemon, and 5 dried apricots, and you could also use figs, they work really well too. And I add the filtered water, give it a stir, and I leave it to ferment until the apricots rise to the top. Now here in France, some people will drink it straight after that first ferment, and others, like me, will do a second ferment with some juice or some ginger or something else. I like doing that second ferment because it makes it really sparkly and gives it a really nice fruit flavour. The children would drink this all day if I would let them, but I try to limit them to 1 glass in the evening. Our house needed a really big stock up this day. I didn't have any washing liquid left and I had loads of washing to do. So I'm making up some of my black soap washing liquid. This is really easy to make. You just take French black soap. I have a 4 litre container here, so I'm adding 200 grams of French black soap, 4 tablespoons of washing soda and 4 tablespoons of bicarb. Mix that up with some water and you're good to go. This will last us for a good couple of weeks. I also needed some bathroom cleaner, so I'm making that too with just a third a bottle of white vinegar and a few drops of essential oil. I like to use mint and lemon. Then I top the spray bottle up with water and give it a shake and it's ready to use. This cleaner works really well on lime scale and it just leaves the bathroom looking and smelling amazing. You can also find both of these recipes over on the blog. This is the last stretch and fold of the day, but before I put everything away, I'm going to be making some starter because I've got a lot of recipes planned for the blog over the next few weeks and they all need sourdough discard. So I'm going to make a whole load so I can test some recipes and hopefully get some delicious things up on the blog for you soon. On days like this, when I need a lot of starter and I want it to be nice and strong, I put a really small amount of starter in the bowl and a large amount of flour and water. So this day, I think I put about 40 grams of starter and 150 grams, if not more, flour and the same amount of water. So that gives the starter a really good feed. It makes it nice and strong and ready to go and bake bread the next day. It's the end of a busy day and the dough is ready to shape. You can see that it's the perfect texture. It's nice and airy, but when I put my finger on the top, the dough springs back, so it's holding its shape really nicely. I'm going to shape 2 loaves out of this and then leave it in the fridge overnight. I like to shape it into a ball and then squeeze the ball in half to make it an oval shape to go in my banneton baskets. And then I like to stitch the top together to create even more tension on the loaf. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get any footage of me scoring and baking the bread the next morning, but this loaf turned out really nicely. So don't forget to check out the recipe over on the blog if you're looking for a really good freshly milled flour bread recipe. Well, thank you for watching, friends. I hope you enjoyed this restock video and that I gave you a few ideas of things that you can stock up on in your kitchen, and maybe things that are going to help you on your health journey, like all of this fermented food is going to help us. And if you're in a season of change like we are at the moment, why don't you leave me a heart in the comments below? I'll see you next time for more homemade food from scratch, allergy-friendly meal ideas, and plenty of sourdough. Bye!